In a land of rolling meadows and soft hills, where the wind hummed gently through tall grass and the sun cast golden light over flocks of sheep, a cunning wolf lived at the edge of the forest. He was lean, his coat ragged, and his yellow eyes sharp with hunger. He had long watched the shepherd's flock from a distance, hidden among the trees, longing for an easy meal. But day after day, the wolf's plans were foiled. The shepherd was always nearby, attentive and cautious. His dog, a large growling brute with quick feet and sharper teeth, never let the wolf come close. No matter how stealthy the wolf tried to be, he could never breach the safety of the pasture. One evening, as the sky blushed pink with the setting sun, the wolf wandered along a narrow path near the shepherd's pen. There, lying on the ground beside a bush, was something curious, a sheepskin, freshly removed and carelessly discarded. Perhaps it had been used for a trade or stripped from a sheep that had fallen ill. The wolf froze, staring at the skin. Then a thought crept into his mind, sly and dangerous. "If I were to wear this," he murmured to himself, "I could walk among them. I wouldn't need to sneak or hide. They'd think I was one of their own. And when the time is right—" A wicked grin crept across his muzzle. "I shall have more than one meal." Under the light of the moon, the wolf began to work. He pulled the sheepskin over his back, tucking in his paws and smoothing the wool around his face. It wasn't perfect. His legs were longer, his snout sharper, but in the haze of morning or from a distance, he looked remarkably like a real sheep. At dawn, he approached the flock, walking slowly, carefully, trying to mimic their gentle gait. The sheep were sleepy and paid him little mind. The shepherd glanced over his flock with a tired eye, counting the woolly backs. Seeing nothing unusual, he turned away to prepare for the day. And so, the wolf joined the flock. All day he grazed among them, pretending to chew grass, keeping his head low. The sheep grew used to his scent and his presence. He listened to their bleating, learned how they moved and spoke. For days he returned, wearing the same disguise, biding his time. At night, he followed them into the pen, heart pounding with excitement. Soon, he thought, I'll choose the fattest one. I'll strike when they're asleep, and be gone before sunrise. But fate had other plans. That very evening, the shepherd received word that his cousin would visit and join him for supper. Wanting to serve a fresh roast, the shepherd went into the fold with a lantern in hand to choose a sheep for the meal. It was late, and the animals were quiet. The shepherd, not wanting to disturb them too much, looked for one that was already near the edge, one that looked plump and slow. His eyes fell on the wolf in disguise. "Ah, there's a good one," he whispered, reaching down and grabbing the fake sheep by the fleece. The wolf tensed but dared not move. He could not cry out. If he did, he would be exposed. The shepherd carried him to the barn, tied his legs, and prepared his tools. It was only when he began to trim the fleece that he saw what lay beneath, the coarse, matted fur of a wolf. With a cry of shock, the shepherd stumbled back, lantern falling to the ground. "By the gods," he muttered. "A wolf, in sheep's clothing." The shepherd called for his dog and the other villagers. The wolf was seized before he could flee, and he was cast out of the valley forever, wounded, humiliated, and never trusted again. Moral: those who pretend to be something they are not, especially with wicked intent, will eventually be discovered and punished. Let's learn some words from this story. Flock of sheep, meaning a group of sheep. Example: the shepherd glanced over his flock of sheep with a tired eye. The shepherd glanced over his group of sheep with a tired eye. Cautious, meaning careful to avoid danger. Example: the shepherd was always cautious and kept watch over the sheep. The shepherd was always careful and kept watch over the sheep. Stripped, meaning removed something completely. Example: the sheepskin had been stripped from a dead animal. The sheepskin had been completely removed from a dead animal. Wicked, meaning evil or bad. Example: a wicked grin crept across his muzzle. An evil grin crept across his muzzle. Grin, meaning a wide smile, often mischievous or sly. Example: a wicked grin crept across his muzzle. An evil smile crept across his muzzle. Muzzle, meaning the nose and mouth area of an animal. Example: an evil grin crept across his muzzle. An evil grin crept across his nose and mouth. Tucking, meaning pushing or folding something in neatly. Example: he pulled the sheepskin over his back, tucking in his paws. He pulled the sheepskin over his back, folding his paws in neatly. Gait, meaning the way someone or something walks. Example: he tried to mimic their gentle gait. He tried to copy their gentle way of walking. Bleating, meaning the sound sheep make. Example: he listened to their bleating, learning how they moved. He listened to the sound sheep make, learning how they moved. Biding his time, meaning waiting patiently for the right moment. Example: he kept returning, biding his time. He kept returning, waiting patiently for the right moment. Fleece, meaning the wool covering of a sheep. Example: the shepherd began to trim the fleece and saw what lay beneath. The shepherd began to trim the wool and saw what lay beneath. Coarse, meaning rough or not smooth. Example: he saw the coarse, matted fur of a wolf. He saw the rough, tangled fur of a wolf.